The color, white down. The company, Benjamin Moore. This is Hue Review, so let's do some reviewing. Hi! That's how I greet my daughter. Hi! How's it going? I don't mean to patronize my loyal viewers and subscribers. I'm James, if you don't know me. This is the Paint People, and this is the show that aims to review every single paint color from all the major paint companies, one review at a time. And today we're talking about a Benjamin Moore color that some would say is hardly a color because it's kind of in that off-white category. It's called White Down, not to be confused with White Dove, which can sometimes be confused with Dove Wing. Some redundancies and some similar names happening here. But White Down is its own color, it's its own thing. So I'm gonna get into this review to talk about its vibe, its versatility, and then I'm going to give you my verdict. What do I think about this color? How would I use it? And would I even use it in my home? So before we get into the details on this color, I have some alternatives from other paint companies. So if you like the look of White Down, but maybe you don't want to use Benjamin Moore for whatever reason, I have all the other major paint companies. These are close matches. They're not going to be spot on. Even if you get a custom color match done by me, for example, it'll be close. It'll be very close. Maybe even undiscernible to the naked eye. Is that a word? Undiscernible? But it's definitely going to give you the same sort of essence. Now, if you really want White Down specifically, the only way you can get it is if you get it in Benjamin Moore paint. So I just want to put that out there. Okay, so what's the vibe of this color? What is the bird's eye view on this color? What's it all about? Well, I did mention it's an off-white. And yes, I would say it's more off-white, even like off-white, rather than a clean white. And that's because of its color, or its hue. It has a very clear creaminess to it. And this is a creaminess that doesn't stem from maybe a soft beige that is perhaps a bit orange leaning, or maybe a touch of a brown sort of toned down effect. This color definitely has a little bit of this sort of buttery yellow creaminess that is maybe softened a touch by some gray, but it's not a ton. It's not enough to really tone down the yellow that much. I do find White Down to be pretty yellow, so it does feel a little more stylized compared to even a Cloud White or a Simply White, which are warm leaning, but they're not as warm. White Down does bring a lot of warmth to it, and it does kind of remind me of a color I saw today on a job site. I'm doing a collaboration with a company called Cornerstone. Awesome guys. They're doing this beautiful condo loft downtown, and the customer is deciding between Cloud White and a color called Timid White. She thought that Cloud White was a bit too gray leaning. Timid White didn't feel as gray, so maybe it's the better choice. It just looks a bit yellow. And to me, White Down feels even more saturated than Timid White. It's around a 77, just under. That's actually kind of dark for a white. White paints are usually as high as the high 80s or even 90s, but the 70s, that's kind of light color territory. That's not really a true white to me. What I will say about White Down is it definitely has its identity of being this creamier off-white, I think you can say. It's not going to feel as minimalist as a stark white, which means I would say that gives you even more incentive to test this color out before you use it on your project, especially if you're using it on your walls. You may think you want creamy walls, but you gotta be sure. So before you buy a big can of paint, get a really small tester first and test it out. I encourage you to. I really do. Okay, so that's the vibe. Creamy color, off-white. What is the versatility of this color? So I like to break this down on the interior and exterior side of things. I would call White Down good old mid versatility. And I call it mid because I think the amount of creaminess does put it in that more traditional category, I would say. Even though there is some grayish-ness happening, which can make it feel a little more versatile, there's not quite enough of it to prevent it from just being a light creamy color. You have to be into that sort of color scheme. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I have a couch that's essentially this color, and I love it, but I think when you have something that's more yellow dominant on the walls, there is more of a tendency to have some interesting reactions and interactions with your lighting. So if you have cooler lighting, if you have those north-facing rooms, then that yellow could easily turn green. And when you're not expecting that green to come out, I think that can be a bit tricky to navigate. As an exterior color, dare I say I might lean a little bit towards the high mid versatility wise. I actually think it's almost more versatile outside just because of the fact that it has some richness to it, so it won't get too washed out, unlike some brighter whites that will just lose all coloration whatsoever. And also because I do enjoy warmer colors on the outside, generally speaking, just because I think it works better with the sunlight. I wouldn't necessarily go all the way to high versatility just because, again, you have that yellowiness which can go a bit greeny. But yeah, I totally could see it working outside pretty nicely. Okay, so what's the verdict here? How would I use this paint color? Where would I put it on the Paint People palette pyramid? Is it a main color that you can use kind of everywhere? Is it a support color that's more the secondary sort of second in command color? Or is it a finishing color that's just good for accents? I would probably put this as a support color. It was kind of borderline main color just because of the fact that it isn't very bright, which means it can be a pretty versatile color in terms of its lightness. It's not super light, even in areas that maybe get too much light or not enough light. It's sort of in a decent spot where it'll reflect quite a bit of light back into the space, but still retain its coloration. So I think that's good. I just think personally the creamy aspect sort of makes me a little apprehensive about recommending it as kind of a default color, go to all over the house sort of main color. In some cases it could work. It just more often than not, I do see it being more of that secondary color, and I almost see it supporting more so as a wall color rather than a trim color. I think for baseboards you want to go a bit brighter and a bit more clean for sure. All right, so that's how I would use it. But would I? Could I see myself using this color in my home right now? No. Kind of a big no, actually. For whatever reason, I'm not really into using this color in my current home as a wall color specifically. I think it's a bit too yellow for my taste. If I were to have this type of color, it would be off of the walls, which is what's happening with my couch. So I have a white down-ish kind of couch that I'm really enjoying, and then the walls surrounding it are much more neutral and just more of a blank canvas, which I enjoy the look of. It's actually kind of like this. Yeah, a little corduroy action. Wayfair, you got just what I need. That's a review. Let me know in the description down below if you want this color in an upcoming palette pyramid episode. Essentially a color palette. And we have another video right over here for you.